Hello everyone, we are back for the summer season here at Trackilicious. We're going to kick things off tonight with the Mans Ultimate GT3 Championship, getting things started tonight at Sebring International Raceway. Welcome back everyone, hope you have enjoyed some time off, either relaxing from the seasons before, getting refreshed and ready to go for the next ones, or getting yourselves entirely set up and ready to go for this season of Le Mans Ultimate. 40-minute sprint races is the format, 20-minute qualifyings, 7 weeks of racing. Starting things tonight at Sebring. The 3.7 mile track lays about 2 hours south of Orlando, right in the middle of Florida. And we will get to the track. Welcome to the podium, Mr. Brian. There you are, right there. Welcome in. Welcome back to the podium. Hope you have enjoyed some time off, but now we get things started, and qualifying is getting underway. Like we said, 20 minutes on the clock. The first 10 minutes belong to the even-numbered drivers, and after that we will switch things over to the odd numbers, and it is different week to week, so very important to pay attention to that as Mercedes Harrison leads the even-numbered crew out onto the track in the number 830 Corvette on home soil here tonight. Welcome in, everyone. We have certainly missed you all being here for the championships, whether it be Le Mans Ultimate or ACC. The rookies getting started yesterday in their GT4s, and tomorrow the ACC continues with the multi-class championship in the GT3s and the GT4s. We will have that broadcasted for you right here on Twitch. And maybe, just maybe, Tyler Morgan will be joining for those races. Sebring with the pit lane, it's a bit interesting because the drivers do get a valid lap right from the get-go on their cold tires. So we will see valid laps here from Harrison, Pcholski, Jace, Wright, and George Elmer once they cross the line. And it is looking like it's just going to be the 4 even drivers out of, I believe, the 15 or 16 we have tonight. But that's usually how it goes. It's always kind of interesting in that it's never really a true split of drivers. Only 4 sharing the track, and there's a spin from Harrison, losing the left side wheels and back to the pits. Very bumpy track at Sebring, and if you catch those bumps the wrong way, the rear of the car can just get sent the wrong way. We do have a multi-class league for LMU. That's on Fridays. It's the Hypercars and the GT3s, and it's a slightly longer race. It's an hour and 15 minutes. And yeah, sign up for that series, and all the other ones are available on SimGrid, !SimGrid. Will get you a link to get signed up for any and all the series. At the moment, Mason Pcholski's on top with a 2:02.316, but we should see those times improve, as that was just on their outlap. Harrison not too far behind, just 2/10 off. Then you got Jace Wright about a second adrift of the provisional pole time, and George Elmer 3.9 seconds back in the number 22 Ferrari, switching it up from the Mustang. And it's the same with Pcholski. He is now in the Porsche after driving the Aston Martin last season. See quite a different number of manufacturers being driven by different drivers. Switching it up for this season, as Pcholski heads through Sunset Bend for the 17th and final corner. Pinning it to the line. Purple Sector 1, Purple Sector 2. How big of an improvement will this be? Gains about a second on his personal best. A 2:01.7 is now the time to chase. Jace Wright improves to second place, gets within about 3/10 of Mason Pcholski's time. And George Elmer now out of the final corner in the black and white number 22 Ferrari. Sets a personal best, about 1.8 seconds back, gaining 2 seconds on his lap from before. Now Harrison a little bit out of queue. Currently in third place, 7/10 behind provisional pole sitter Mason Pcholski in the number 10 Porsche. Has a personal best sector 1 and 2 as it stands. Just needs to finish out the final corner after this back straight. One Bigley, welcome to the podium for the 40th consecutive month. That's 3 years, 4 months of being on the Trackilicious podium. Thank you for the continued support, and we'll see how you get on in the session later on, and then an amazing donation as well. Thank you very much, Mr. One Bigley. As Harrison improves their best time on the board, but it is not enough to improve the position. Still needs a couple of tenths to get ahead of Jace Wright to sit on the front row, and needs about half a second to get to Mason Pcholski on top. Purple Sector 1 for Jace Wright, a little bit down on his time in the second sector, and very close to the wall on the exit, trying to get all of the time out of the car, and he does so, gets to provisional pole, 5/100ths ahead of Mason Pcholski. So the order on top switches. Lamborghini on top of the Porsche. No improvements for George Elmer on his last lap. Now Mercedes Harrison, with just 2.5 minutes left in the even session, looking to get a good time on the board. Personal best sector 1, overall best sector 2, and now just the back straight and Sunset Bend remain. We say just Sunset Bend, but it is quite a tricky corner, very bumpy on the entry. ABS will be in full effect in these GT3 cars, as you see the front just skidding along the pavement there, sparking up as Harrison tries to open up the exit as much as possible, getting the power down. How good of a time will this be from Harrison? It's an improvement, but it's not enough to get onto the front row, gaining a few tenths on the personal best of the Corvette, but still needs 2 more to get up to the front row. Jace Wright returns to the pits, so that's the session done for the number 24 Lamborghini. Mason Pcholski slow through the first couple of sectors, but we saw him pull off to the side and let the Lamborghini go through. So just setting himself up for one last flying lap attempt here. And doesn't need much to get back to that top spot. It's just 0.05 of a second between the Porsche and the Lamborghini on the front row. Elmer back in the pits as well, so that's his session completed. About 1.8 seconds back of provisional pole, a 2:03.597 set by the number 22 Ferrari. As Pcholski riding the curbs very heavily, trying to shorten all the distance, and then oversteer out of turn 5 will end the session for the Porsche. Second place as it stands for Mason Pcholski. Can Harrison improve a little bit down in sector 1 and 2? But those were pretty good sectors on the last lap, and another oversteer moment here, ending the session for the Corvette. So from the 4 drivers, we have Jace Wright on top in the number 24, then Mason Pcholski in the number 10 Porsche, Mercedes Harrison in the 830 Corvette, and George Elmer in their number 22 Ferrari in 4th place. As now, the even numbered drivers head out to the track for their 10 minutes of qualifying. Jake Terrell in the Porsche, the number 83, looking to take that top spot away. Thank you, Roman, for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the action so far. Just getting things started here for the first qualifying session of the season. Just 4 even numbered drivers, and you can see a lot more odds. It's going to be a busy track out there. It'll be crucial to find a bit of open space, as we have quite a good variety of manufacturers on display as well. But the Porsche seems to be the favorite for the season. I can see 4 of them on the left-hand side being represented there. So let's get familiar with some of the liveries we've got. Got Ryan Eason in the number 705. He is driving the number 82 livery. The gray Corvette completing sector 1. And right out of the gates, Grant Lucarelli with a purple sector 1 in the number 11 Corvette. Ivan Cabral in the number 157 Porsche. He was just behind Terrell on track as the 2 Porsches lead the way for the even numbers. Diego Mateo in the 787 Ford, in the number 88 livery, the blue and white iconic Ford colors. Also on home soil here. Relative to the WEC calendar, it's on home soil, but I would say far from its home in Detroit. But nonetheless, Mateo sets a personal best 2:04.8. Joshua Hildenbrand in the number 7 BMW gets up to 7th place as Lucarelli takes provisional pole by about 2.5 tenths of a second right out of the gates. That's the red Corvette right behind Hildenbrand. Also switching from the Aston Martin last season is Grant Lucarelli in the Corvette. A little bit wide on the exit of turn 5. But as it stands, it's looking good for Lucarelli. Jake Terrell takes the fastest Sector 1 time away. As we continue to get familiar with the grid, Brian DeSantiago driving under the 777 number, using the number 85 Iron Dames livery, switching from the Lexus to the Lamborghini this season. He was reluctant to switch from the Lamborghini at first, I know, but now happy to be back with the V10 right behind his back. Currently sitting in 13th place. Callie, welcome to the podium on a 29-month streak. That is 2 years, 5 months, and going as Jake Terrell comes to the line. Can the 83 find the time to get to the top? He can. It's a 2:01.369. Damn, she fine. 1/10 clear of Grant Lucarelli in second place. Good time set by Jake Terrell. Zach Terrell can't quite improve on his personal best in the 69 Porsche, but still in a good top 10 position in 7th place, starting from the front of the 4th row. Ryan Eason in 9th. Saw his livery earlier on. Looking to improve on that time, and it is just 0.04 of a second between himself and Joshua Hildenbrand, the driver ahead of him, who's now back in the pits in the number 7 BMW. Brett Samuelson in the 29 Lexus. I believe was saying might have some controller issues before the session started, but looking like getting things fixed. Just outside the top 10, needs about 0.4 of a second to get ahead of Mateo, who currently occupies that final top 10 spot. As Samuelson gets into turn 10. A little bit down on his time in Sector 1. But an improvement in Sector 2. Can he get ahead of George Elmer, who's stuck back in the pits after his even-numbered session is completed? Samuelson trying to cut through the curbs as much as possible, shave down the time in the 29 Lexus with the Red Bull livery on its side. Where will this time put Samuelson? Did he keep it valid with how much he was cutting those curbs too? Coming up to the line. It is an improvement. It's a 2:03.7, but it's not quite enough to gain a position ahead of George Elmer. Dr. Porkchop sticking with the Aston Martin for this season once again. Currently in 16th place, as One Bigley just found an improvement to jump ahead of the Aston. And here is One Bigley in the old 88 livery, and as we switch to the Mustang, he spins out of turn 3 and back to the pits, and that will most likely be the session done for the 253. A little bit of commentator's curse kicking in. Still got it after some time off. A big improvement from Cabral as he goes to the top 3. Personal best Sector 2, overall best Sector 1. And where would he have gone if he could have put a personal best Sector 3 on the board as well? Time left for 1 lap for the Porsche. Terrell remains on top, improving his time to a 2:01.283. Lucarelli 2/10 behind, then Cabral in third, a further 10.5 behind Lucarelli. Wright, Pcholski, and Harrison cannot improve on their times. They are stuck in the pits. Zach Terrell can't find an improvement on his last lap. Time ticking away. This will be the last lap for most of these drivers now. And there is a lot of yellow on the board, which means the drivers can't quite find personal best times. Hildenbrand is looking good as it stands. Personal best Sector 1 as he goes into the heavy braking zone of turn 7. Saw Hildenbrand back in the pits earlier as we hit 0 on the timing tower. Checkered flag is waving. So this will be the last lap for the first qualifying session of the new summer season. Lucarelli behind Hildenbrand on track, so we will stay with the BMW as he is looking to get a personal best lap here right at the end of the session. Where will this lap put the number 7 as he comes up to the line? Checkered flag waving. Gets ahead up to 7th to get the number to match the position. And now Lucarelli down on his time in Sector 1. Purple Sector 2, and no improvements there for the number 11 Corvette, so it will be a 3rd place start for Grant. Oh, and Brian DeSantiago in the wall, exiting Sunset out of the final corner. He was looking for an improvement but couldn't get it. Personal best Sector 1 and 2, and Mateo pulls off to the side of the road. And he will be the last driver out on track. So that is the qualifying complete. Time to go racing. It's going to be 40 minutes on the clock for the race. A sprint from the green flag all the way to the checkered.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
And that's how it's going to go all season long. Let's get familiar with the starting grid as we have now the mixed, evens, and odds on track. Bort Bonderson in the 507. Lexus starts from 17th. Then it's Dr. Porkchop in the 71. Aston Martin starting from 16th. In 15th is one Bigley in the 253 Mustang starting behind CRT. That's Dom CRT in the number 5 McLaren. Then you have Brett Samuelson in the 29 Lexus starting from 13th with Brian DeSantiago in the 777 Lamborghini in 12th place. George Elmer in 11th in the 22 Ferrari. Then Diego Mateo rounds out the top 10 in the 787 Mustang, just up in front of the Lamborghini there. Ryan Eason in 9th in the 705 Corvette. Then Zach Terrell in the 69 Porsche starting from 8th. Hildenbrand in the number 7 BMW starts from 7th. Then you've got Mercedes Harrison on the back of the 3rd row in the 830 Corvette. Mason Pcholski rounds out the top 5 in the number 10 Porsche. Jace Wright starts from the 2nd row in the number 24 Lamborghini.
Has started.
Formation lap has started. You heard it there. My goodness. What has happened here? Oh, it looks like my game has crashed. We'll be right back. Hopefully in time for the race start. Apologies, folks. Take it back to the studio real quick as we get the technical issue that always seems to happen at the best time, right before the green flag. Alrighty. Getting things back up and going here. Hopefully, nothing drastic has happened so far. Let's try to tune back in here tonight and see what happens. Was Terrell on top? Didn't even get through the whole grid before things decided to chop off. We got the Jace Wright in 4th. And after that, it was Ivan Cabral in 3rd place. And the top 2, Grant Lucarelli, or excuse me, 3rd place was Grant Lucarelli. Alrighty. Apologies, folks, about that. We're back with Terrell on top of Cabral and Lucarelli in 3rd. Hildenbrand with a great start, getting up to 4th place. Pcholski hangs on to 3rd. Terrell up a position to 6th. Eason up a couple places to 7th. Dom CRT with a great start, starting outside the top 10, going all the way up to 8th place. Mateo up a place. Pork Chop, great start from him, starting from 16th all the way up to 10th. Mercedes Harrison a bit unlucky there to drop to 11th place. And now Mercedes gets ahead of Dr. Pork Chop to slot back into the top 10 to begin try and recover back to where they started up in 6th place. There we can see the progress of the grid. Terrell, Cabral, Lucarelli, top 3 remain unchanged. You've got Hildenbrand up 3 places. Pcholski stays in 5th. Terrell and Eason up a couple places. Dom CRT up 6 from where he started. And Harrison down again. Unlucky there, getting back into the top 10. And now dropping back to 16th place. Jace Wright also starting from the second row, down to 14th. As Cabral tries to stay close to Jake Terrell, the gap opening up, though, to 1.3 seconds between the top two. Pcholski looks to close in on the BMW of Josh Hildenbrand to take 4th place. Porsche looking like the heavy favorite around Sebring. Currently a 1-2 with Terrell and Cabral, then Pcholski and Zach Terrell in 5th and 6th. But they are looking to close right in on the BMW of Hildenbrand and challenge him for that 4th place position. Pcholski, very heavy over the curbs. Compare that to how Terrell takes the corners. Not a lot of curbs from the 69 Porsche compared to the number 10. Diego Mateo in 9th. Looking to close in on Dom CRT. Currently in 8th in the McLaren with a great start. He's on the back of Eason in the gray Corvette. Gap's just kind of ebbing and flowing here. Some manufacturers seem stronger in certain parts of the track than others, but one thing for certain is that Jake Terrell is extending his lead at the top. It's now 1.5 seconds between himself and Ivan Cabral. The pair of Porsches of Pcholski and Terrell keeping close to the BMW of Hildenbrand. See just how bumpy it is there through Sunset Bend. The rear of the Porsche going all over the place. It's especially exaggerated with the engine being all the way back there too. But even the BMW saw a little bit of it there. Turn 1 also not the smoothest of corners. Saw Harrison fall victim there. During the qualifying session. And will we see a move from the Porsche? Almost thinking about it into turn 7. But not quite alongside enough to send it. BMW seems to have that covered off. Pretty confident in the braking zone as well. Not even thinking of taking to the defensive line. As we go through turn 10. Approaching 13. Another good opportunity to try to close in on your rival. And behind it, looks like the Mustang, in fact, yes, Mateo in the Mustang got ahead of Dom CRT in the McLaren to take 8th place. Now, can Pcholski do the same? A bit slow. Before the back straight for Pcholski, Zach Terrell closed right in to really apply the pressure to the number 10. Battle for the final spot in the top 10. It's George Elmer versus Dr. Porkchop in the Aston Martin. Up ahead, taking the middle of the track away. Elmer forced to go the long way around. It's going to be very tricky to hold the line there as it's so bumpy. Very tricky to get the power down. But can he get the move lined up into turn one? A sweeping left-hander. Not a very heavy braking zone, similar to the layout at Valencia. But then at the end of Sector 1, a good overtaking opportunity for the Ferrari to try and get ahead of the Aston Martin, especially on the power here, going into the heavy braking zone of the hairpin. Oh, and unfortunately problems for Hildenbrand, losing the place to the two Porsches of Pcholski and Terrell. Must have run a touch wide, and just the proximity of those Porsches just allowed them to pass with ease and get right ahead. But George Elmer is finding life a little bit difficult behind the Aston of Dr. Porkchop. Porkchop certainly knows how to defend. Experienced driver, just new to LMU. But adapting very quickly in just his second season here. Is now into the final sector, into the penultimate corner. Elmer trying to line up the moves, but all of the racing between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin has brought the Lexus of Brett Samuelson into play. After just 10 minutes, lots of positions still yet to be decided. Samuelson trying the ultra-wide line to try and cut right in to turn this two-car battle into a three-car battle as we head down the main straight into turn one. Porkchop ahead of Elmer, ahead of Samuelson. Into turn three, Elmer thinks about sending the move and goes very deep into the grass and into the wall. Contact with the barrier. I was just looking away to check the gap. And all of it just unfolded there. Elmer losing the places. But Porkchop, unfortunately, losing even more places and still stuck in the grass is the 71 Aston Martin. I wish I had the ability to replay and go see exactly what happened there between the two of them. It was looking like a great three-car battle was developing between Elmer, Samuelson, and Porkchop. And right at the wrong moment, I looked away from the screen as it all unfolded. But nonetheless, they continue on in this one, which means the final top 10 position for the time being will go to Brett Samuelson. He's got a pretty big 12-second gap to try to make up to Dom CRT ahead of him in 9th, and George Elmer falling back about 3.5 seconds in 11th. At the top is not Zach Terrell, but Jake Terrell in the 83 Porsche. Leads the way by nearly 3 seconds over Ivan Cabral in the 157, then Grant Lucarelli rounding out the podium places about 3 seconds behind the Porsches ahead of him. Then Mason Pcholski in 4th ahead of Zach Terrell, who rounds out the top 5 here in the 69 Porsche, as these two have been nose to tail pretty much from the start of this one, with Terrell on the back of Pcholski. Hildenbrand in 6th in the number 7 BMW, Ryan Eason in 7th. Then you got Matteo in 8th, Dom CRT in 9th, and Samuelson up to 10th. Elmer 11th to Santiago 12th. Ali in 13th place. Dr. Porkchop 14th. One Bigley in 15th. Bonnerson in 16th place. Then Mercedes Harrison in 17th. And we unfortunately lost Jace Wright from this one, having to return back to the pits in the Lamborghini. Oh, and further trouble for the BMW. Hildenbrand trying to rejoin, and he will do so behind the McLaren of Dom CRT in 9th place. Just a bit of a moment there for the number 7 as the two Porsches nearly side by side on the exit of Sunset Bend. Gap's pretty stable between the top 3, and then it's these two Porsches fighting it out for 4th and 5th place, with Pcholski ahead of Terrell. Just under 25 minutes to go in this one, season opener of the 7-round championship of the Le Mans Ultimate GT3 Sprint Summer Season. We are back in full swing on Mondays. We've got the GT4 rookies in ACC. Tuesdays here in LMU, 40-minute sprints in the GT3s. On Wednesdays, we go back to ACC for some multi-class action in the GT3s and the GT4s. Fridays, Le Mans Ultimate Multi-Class Hypercars and GT3 75-minute races for both the multi-class formats. As the two Porsches inches away from the wall, just trying to go as quickly as possible. Gap opening up just a touch now. Pcholski a bit more breathing room than he had before. Hashim Ali getting close to George Elmer in this battle for 11th place. As the 686 Lexus continues its pursuit of the lone Ferrari on the grid. No Alex Freeman tonight. He has important playoff duties. His team is in the Stanley Cup Finals. But we'll just have to wait for the season debut of Alex Freeman. We'll see if he's even stuck with the Ferrari for this season, maybe switching it up. Wanting to try something else out. But nonetheless, this battle for 11th continuing between the 686 Lexus and George Elmer in the 22 Ferrari. Elmer involved in some good battles. Got a bit unlucky with some contact certainly carrying a bit of damage. We saw the front left go into the wall. Oh, and a slight spin from the Ferrari. Can he hold it? He almost enters the pit lane, but able to keep it out of the wall just. That was a great bit of saving from George Elmer to keep his Ferrari in one piece. That would have certainly been a race ender if that wheel would have found the wall. One Bigley and Dr. Porkchop close on track, 14th and 15th place here, battling it out with Porkchop ahead in the 71 Aston. Also a bit unlucky to find himself here in 14th. But nonetheless, that is how racing goes. One Bigley trying to carry the speed, with Porkchop cutting down the inside of the corner. One Bigley tries to carry the speed around the outside and gets close to the back of the Aston, but through turn one's a very tricky overtake to get done. But on corner exit, Porkchop just having to brake a touch, maybe thinking he was going to run a little bit wide, maybe feeling the back of the car, stepping out a touch. But all of that's allowing the Mustang of One Bigley to stay right on his bumper. Going into the hairpin, the Aston seeming to have the grip out of the corner to keep the straight line speed into the hairpin entry. And out of the hairpin, it's the same story, the gap opening up to the Mustang. But through the twisty bits of Sector 2, where the Mustang really seems to gain on the Aston of Dr. Porkchop ahead. Porkchop running a touch wide, opens up the inside for the Mustang to try to take advantage, but can't quite take the inside line going into turn 16. Porkchop remains ahead of One Bigley. Once again, different lines into the final corner. One Bigley trying to get the over-under line, and he is closer than he was on the previous lap, certainly. Can he send the move? It's going to be brave if he's going to do it. And not a lot of room on offer there from Dr. Porkchop, hanging on to the racing line, out of turn 1, through the kink at turn 2, into the braking zone of turn 3. The Aston remains ahead on the defense, though, and into the braking zone of turn 5. The Mustang trying to go as late as possible, but in doing so, really slowing him down for the straightaway before the hairpin braking zone, and he's very late on the brakes, but the Mustang able to stop on a dime, gets that time right back. "17 minutes remain in the braking zones now. The Mustang looking to creep into that inside, but just not finding any room, with Dr. Porkchop, a mighty defender, showing us exactly why. At the front, Jake Terrell extends his lead to 5.22 seconds from Ivan Cabral in second. Then you got Grant Lucarelli in third. Mason Pcholski opening up the gap to Zach Terrell. They are in fourth and fifth. You got Ryan Eason in sixth. Diego Mateo in seventh. Dom CRT with a great climb up the field. He's in eighth place. Then you've got the pair of Lexis. Brett Samuelson leads ahead of Ali. They are in ninth and 10th. Then you got Brian DeSantiago in 11th. George Elmer 12th. And then the battle we saw between One Bigley and Dr. Porkchop has now turned into the battle between Mercedes Harrison and Dr. Porkchop after the Corvette able to get ahead of the Mustang and now sneaks through the inside of turn 3 and gets the place ahead of the Aston Martin. So now One Bigley with a 1.3 second gap to try to close back in on the back of Dr. Porkchop. Court Bonnerson running out on track as well in the 507. Unfortunately, we have lost the BMW of Joshua Hildenbrand and the Lamborghini of Jace Wright. Brian DeSantiago and George Elmer were close out on track. Elmer just got ahead of DeSantiago. I wonder if there was a little bit of a moment there for the BMW. Some slight scratching on the front left-hand side of the V10 Lambo as well, but nothing too critical. He will look to stay close to the back of the Ferrari in the battle of the Italian manufacturers for 11th and 12th place. Mustang of One Bigley has caught right back up to Dr. Porkchop. This battle for 14th and 15th place into the final 14 minutes we go. The Aston looking comfortable on the defensive end. Just not allowing the Mustang any space to go through and take advantage in the braking zones, where the Aston can then just drive away down the straights. There we see just how close they're getting into the braking zones. Mustang wants the place, but the Aston is not making it easy. Sebring's certainly one of those tracks on my agenda to try to visit. See lots of Trackilicious crew always show up, and that's a really late move from One Bigley as he drifts it into the wall. He tried to go super late on the brakes around the outside, but just the tires just could not keep up with how much speed he was throwing their way. and giving up at the back. He managed to keep the back from stepping out, but in doing so, couldn't save it from the wall. And now the left-hand side of one Bigley's Mustang certainly experiencing a bit of damage as he runs wide on the exit of turn 5, keeping it out of the wall though. Just a trip through the grass there for the Ford. Unfortunately for him, that gap now opening up to 7.5 seconds to Dr. Porkchop. Gap shrinking just a touch between Lucarelli and Pcholski. It was around 3.5 seconds. Now it's down to 2.3. As we head into the final 10 minutes of the race, is Pcholski just saving his tires a touch, just waiting to unleash the pace of the Porsche. Terrell continues to extend his gap at the front. Now there is a 7.3 second gap between the two Porsches on the top. The 83 of Terrell leads from the 157 of Ivan Cabral. Then Lucarelli in third in the Corvette. Pcholski looking to make it a Porsche 1-2-3 as he tries to close that gap as much as he possibly can. Currently around 2.2 seconds. It's the same situation for Mateo in the 787 Mustang. He's got a 2.5 second gap to Ryan Eason for 6th, as Eason in the 705 Camaro, or it's not Camaro, Corvette, excuse me, sits just 2.5 seconds up the road in the battle between the two American manufacturers. And an update on our Italian manufacturer battle. Brian DeSantiago drifting back just a touch, 1.9 seconds between the Lamborghini and the Ferrari up ahead of DeSantiago, and that's going to be George Elmer in the number 22. See the progress of the grid there. The top three remain unchanged from their qualifying performance. Pcholski up a position. Terrell and Eason and Mateo up 3 places from where they started. Dom CRT, one of the big movers of the night, up 6 places from where he started. Then you've got Samuelson in 9th, up 4 places. And the Lexus of Ali up 9 places, not taking part in the qualifying. So starting from the back of the grid, up 9 places. Elmer and DeSantiago, after all of their battles throughout the grid, remain in the position that they qualified. Harrison, unfortunately, down at the start with a couple of moments. Porkchop up 2 places. Bigley in the position he started. And Bort Bonnerson up a place. We've lost Josh Hildenbrand and Jace Wright, unfortunately, from this contest. Gap opening up by another second between the two Italian manufacturers here. Elmer extending it to 3 seconds in the number 22 over the 777 of Brian DeSantiago, who's having a spin as we speak. And that gap's going to open up even more, losing the place to Mercedes Harrison as well. So the 777 down to 13th. Gap pretty stable between Lucarelli and Pcholski, hanging around that 2.2 second mark, with Lucarelli in third, Pcholski in fourth. And it's the same story for Eason and Matteo. Their 2.5 second gap hanging right around that same mark from when we last checked in. So Matteo in the Mustang can't quite close in on Eason in the 705 Corvette. As the Corvette buzzes on by. In fact, extending the gap to over 3 seconds to Matteo. Ryan Eason just with a few more laps left to secure his 6th place finish. Oh, and there must have been a little moment for Mason Pcholski, because the gap between himself and Grant Lucarelli opening up to 3.7 seconds, but Lucarelli nearly losing it, trying to get around the Lexus. All that time that he gained is nearly lost again. Gap back down to 2.4 seconds. Classic Lamborghini snap. Oh no, Brian, are you back in the pits? No! 777 retiring from this one, unfortunately. I didn't see if you hit the wall there. Was there just some damage sustained on that one, Mr. Brian? There's just 2 laps remain now. You blew up the engine. Oh no. Was that from spinning in contact with the wall? Rip Lamborghini. Fortunately, losing both of them tonight. Jace Wright earlier on, and now recently Brian DeSantiago out of this one. So they are proving to be quite and a handful, as Jeremy Clarkson would say. Lucarelli able to build a couple more tenths into his gap over Mason Pcholski in his efforts of getting a podium in the season opener. Jake Terrell will soon start his final lap of the race. Got a comfortable 8.7 second gap over Ivan Cabral in the 157 Porsche. So one last tour of the Sebring International Raceway for Jake Terrell. Final lap of the race for the 83 Porsche after starting on pole. Has led every lap so far. And now just one 3.7 mile lap remains between himself and the top step of the podium. Elmer struggling on the outside. Harrison looks to take advantage and take 11th place. The Ferrari will have the inside, goes a little bit bouncy over the curbs, can't get the power down, and the Corvette will sweep on through. It's a good recovery drive from Mercedes Harrison, all things considered. Good perseverance to stick it out to the end as well. Nearly recovering back to a top 10 position. Now just the final sector left for Jake Terrell to finish out this dominant drive over the rest of the grid. There were some tight times in the qualifying session, but the race pace of Terrell proving to be in a league of its own. With a near 10-second gap over his nearest rival, Terrell puts the power down out of the final corner for the last time, and he will take the first win of the summer season as he crosses the checkered flag. Well done, Jake. Great drive, my friend. As Ivan Cabral, I believe in his Trackilicious debut, gets a second place finish, with Lucarelli hanging on to third place. He will round out the podium tonight. Pcholski in fourth, Zach Terrell fifth, Ryan Eason able to hold off Mateo earlier on and building that gap to right around 7 seconds over the Mustang. Eason across the line in sixth place. Diego Mateo takes seventh, with Dom CRT with a mega drive through the grid, starting from 14th up to 8th. The pair of Lexuses will be next. Samuelson first, he will be in 9th. As that was Bonnerson across the line in 15th, one Bigley taking the checkered flag in 14th, and Porkchop earlier on in 13th as well. There's Samuelson across the line in the number 29. And Hashim Ali joining late, unable to take part in the qualifying, starting from the back, but getting a top 10 finish here in the race in the 686 Lexus across the line. And now, just have the two drivers of Mercedes Harrison recovering back up to 11th, and George Elmer, last but not least, across the line in 12th in the number 22 Ferrari. Certainly lots of action for him tonight. And also for you Tuesday folks, this is your guy to contact if you have any sort of questions about the season. He will be the manager of the Tuesday League. Great guy. Responsive. Gets the job done. So it's Jake Terrell who takes the win in the first race, followed by Ivan Cabral and Grant Lucarelli. Rounds out the podium, and we invite those three to join us in the green room for a quick chat of how your guys' race went tonight. And if they're feeling shy, that's totally fine too. But they're not, they're ready. Welcome in Jake Terrell. Welcome in Grant Lucarelli, carrying on the form you guys had from last season, finishing on the podium here.
It's good to be back. In a new car this season, feel a lot more comfortable. Got myself in a actual sim rig now, so
there you go.
Everything's solid, and I feel more consistent. So far so good. Feeling good, feeling fast. So
heck yeah,
good start to the season.
Upgrades are coming in hot for Jake Terrell. Watch out, everybody.
We're screwed. He was already fast.
Yeah, right, exactly. He was already finishing up in the top 3 pretty consistently, and now, even just getting used to the equipment he's finishing on top, we're going to be in for quite the ride this season, I have a feeling. But hey.
Yeah, hopefully I don't eat my words too bad.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's a long season. We'll see what happens. You seem really comfortable out there, too. The gap's pretty tight in the qualifying, but just on race pace, you're just able to build that gap, kind of open it up. Unfortunately, my game crashed right before the race start, so could you guys talk us through what happened at the start?
Well, at the start of the race, got a good jump on the light, and I was able to pull out in front of Cabral, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And I hit my braking point, carried my speed properly through turn 1, and I, kind of just eyes forward from there on out. I heard that there was a little drama behind, and I don't really know what all happened with that. And Grant could probably help, tell the story a little bit better there. But, once I was through turn 1, it was just all head down and try and be as consistent as I possibly could. And I kept that consistency all the way through the race, and about 3/4 of the way through the race, I ran the fastest lap. So, I was feeling good out there.
Yeah, Grant, and kind of a different question to you at the end there. It seemed like Mason was kind of applying the pressure, and there was a kind of a hair-raising moment between yourself and one of the blue flagged cars, nearly losing it on the exit of the hairpin.
I'm having latency issues. I don't know if that's me or what, but apologies for that.
All good.
But yeah, there's
Oh, and to the chaperone, I guess.
Well, I guess we are indeed having some latency issues, unfortunately for us. But hey, that's just how it goes sometimes,
Yep.
You get a podium, but hey, you can't. You don't get to talk to us though.
That's okay.
I think you're back, Grant. I think. Oh no, and he's gone again.
Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss there, but hey, that's all right. We know Grant had the pace there to finish on the podium. Mason almost applying the late pressure, and yeah, there was that one very hair-raising moment. Trying to go around the outside, the back of the Corvette just kind of stepped out a touch and was able to catch it. And so, yeah, we have 6 more races to go. Should be a pretty good season. Algarve is next. We'll see how you guys get on there. Congrats on starting off on a high note. Good luck in the remaining rounds.
Cheers. Sorry again for the latency issues, guys. I don't know what's going on.
It's all good, man. All good. Totally happens. Congrats again. Hopefully, we'll see you back here with no internet problems in the future. That will conclude us for round 1 for the summer season of the GT3 Sprint Championship in Le Mans Ultimate. The points systems. It follows the Formula 1 system where the winner gets 25 points, then 18 for second, third gets 15, so on and so forth. The one additional caveat is that 2 points will be awarded for the fastest lap of the race. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So for tonight, Jake Terrell would get 27 because he had the fastest lap of the race and the overall win, giving him the lead over Ivan Cabral by 9 points. But still a long way to go in this one. There is also a drop race to consider. If you want to get signed up, SimGrid is the place to go to do just that for this championship and all of the other ones that Trackilicious hosts. Tomorrow we will be live for the season opener for the ACC Multi-Class Championship, getting things started at Spa-Francorchamps. Then on Friday is the Le Mans Ultimate Multi-Class Championship with the Hypercars and the GT3s. Mondays we go to round 2 of the rookies. They got things started yesterday, and they are already kicking things off into high gear. It sounded like it was a great race yesterday. Shame not to be able to broadcast that for you in its entirety this season. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2. Hopefully, always love the action that the rookies provide in those quick 20-minute sprints. So get yourself signed up for those and any other championships Trackilicious may host. But now we are going to give a raid to Racing Dragon to continue on the Le Mans Ultimate train. Doing some daily races. Looks like in some LMP3s or LMP2s, but nonetheless, tell them Trackilicious sent you. Spread the love from one community to the other. Happy to be back. Happy to have you here. Welcome to the summer season here at Trackilicious. We'll be around for 7 weeks, and we hope to see you at every single round. But until the next one, stay safe out there. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be watching around the world. Thank you for tuning in to Trackilicious. Stick around for the raid. Thank you very much. We'll see ya.